I think there's this wrong mindset in
Hmm.
the global church. In general, there's an undertone of if I acquire resources, if I become successful, then I'm automatically going to fall into the sin of money, which is a really real thing.
Hmm.
I think there's this fear of if I become successful, if I use that God-given drive, ambition, grit, then I'm automatically going to fall into this path instead of I'm just going to like set my number, whatever that financial freedom number is for you. And I'm going to go big. I'm going to develop a great business. I'm going to bring together people. I'm going to cast a big vision because I do want to make a big impact.
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
So today's guest is Nick Stromwall, and he is from Minnesota. And he's a husband, he's a father, he's I would say probably a coach. He loves to see people thrive in their environment, and he's passionate about people being balanced with their family and community, and I would suspect your investments too, right? I mean, just living that balanced life. And I know that you have a big ambition of living on 10% of your income, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So could you tell us, Nick, kind of how you went from well, we'll just say it this way, how you went from ministry to real estate?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, Marty. It's a
Yeah.
privilege to share my story, and I've been enjoying listening to your podcast. You've got some great guests, and the medium of podcast was wonderful. When you're out walking, when you're
Mm.
driving in the car, just to be able to download and listen to something is great. So my name is Nick Stromwall from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, and I was a full-time college minister, laboring in the lives of college students, mentoring them all across the Midwest, and loved that season. What a powerful way to invest in the next generation. College is such a pivotal time for so many people making decisions about who they are and what they're made to do and who they should marry, all the big questions in life. So I had the privilege of doing some premarital counseling and officiating weddings. And yeah, as these students started investing in the ministry I was a part of, they'd go on these summer trips and they'd look for funding to go on these leadership opportunities. And my wife and I wanted to get behind them. And we were missionaries, raising a support team to
Hmm.
do the work of ministry. So we looked to a lot of different things to try to figure out how to generate some extra income. Stumbled into real estate, really because started learning about who, some of the most successful leaders out there and how they generated resources, how they built wealth, and how they used that to do good to others. So we became friends with the guys flipping the duplex across the street from our house in South Minneapolis, unloading some stuff out of their car, and they said, do you know anyone that wants to buy this duplex?" And I raised my hand and I said, "Yes." And that
Mm.
started a path of trying to figure out funding. I think like 14 banks said no before one bank said yes, and found a business partner. Learned 50% of the deal is better than no deal at all. And what that did was that produced $600 a month of income for me and my
Mm.
wife and my family, and $600 a month of income for my business partner. And we were able to, take care of the needs of our growing family, but also share and bless other people. And when I step back and I look at the world, there are just so many problems. You look at your community, the people on your block, your greater city, your state, and the world at hand. You look at the natural disasters that just happened or the ones that are coming. There's so much opportunity to use the skills that we've all been given to be a blessing to other people. Making impact doesn't have to be writing big checks. It could be as
Sure.
simple as bake 2 batches of cookies and bring them over to a neighbor in need. Call a friend, write a card. Like, there's so many ways to invest in other people, and yet some of the world's greatest problems need resources. And what better way to do that than start a business or invest in real estate?
That's good. Nick, I'm curious, what year was it when you bought that duplex?
That was 2008. We bought the property for $140,000. It was near the bottom of the market. We sold it last year for $350,000. So that's quite the 10-year spread. Um, And, it's funny because that one duplex led us to convert our basement to a rental, to buy some
Mm.
land, to start an Airbnb, to kind of develop a small portfolio of single family homes. And as we started having kids, the demands and where I wanted to be present kind of shifted.
Hmm.
And the days of running across the streets to paint or take care of things with my baby monitor were kind of getting taxing, and yet everyone's got different assets available. I didn't have a lot of financial assets, but I had time. So I used
Hmm.
that time, leveraged it, and then now I'm at the point where my time is more limited, but I'm starting to get some assets. So
Hmm.
it's how do you invest passively? How do you invest without having to give up your time to make the greatest impact you can make? And that's what
Hmm.
led me a couple years ago to learn commercial real estate. So I got some coaching, joined a mastermind community, and really just started investing in myself. Investing in skills is often one of the greatest return on investments you can make. And you being a coach, Marty, I'm sure you can attest, when you invest in coaching someone who's a couple of steps ahead of you, you short circuit the path to
Hmm.
success, and you can really amplify that. And for me, it's like, okay, if we're going to solve some of these greatest problems, we need to get some ways to develop resources and opportunities and cultivate jobs so that we can make the greatest impact. Real estate traditionally has produced a lot of wealth. I kind of don't like the phrase wealth creation because I think it inherently means buy more stuff, upgrade all the
Hmm.
things you have, instead of like just set your level, whatever it is, set your financial freedom number. But then why not 10x it so that you could live on
Yeah.
10% and give the rest away?
A book that really helped me, because I was raised in the Larry Burkett, Dave Ramsey circle. So I
Hmm.
was raised kind of no debt. Um, but one book that really helped was Rich Dad Poor Dad. But outside of that, one of the first real estate books I read was Gary Keller's The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Have you read that one?
No, but and that's a list. It's good. It's a good recommendation.
So he makes a really good point, like in the intro or first chapter, because he's doing a conference and he's getting this pushback. Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. Because people are like, why should you be rich? And
Hmm.
what he says is, well, imagine the people you could help if you were. And it was just a mindset shift for me. Like, instead of being limited to just taking care of me, what would happen if I could write that check,
Mm.
and help whoever, whatever. Um, and not that you can't with the other mindset, but I realized that if you could leverage it into more wealth, then you could actually help more people rather than just trying to live on what you're making at a regular, ordinary job.
Yeah, and growing up in the church and then being a full-time campus minister for over 15 years, I think there's this kind of wrong mindset in the
Mm-hmm.
the global church, and not to say that every community kind of communicates this, but in general, there's an undertone of if I acquire resources, if I become successful, then I'm automatically going to fall into the sin of money, which is a really real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think a lot of us have had those Boaz type leaders, those humble servants that are willing to go low, that are not looking for the showy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny in your churches, there's probably a lot of millionaires in your churches that probably drive beaters that aren't flashy, but they've been really successful because they've had this mantra of, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
serve people. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, the byproduct of that is often wealth creation. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's this fear of if I become successful, if I use that God given drive, ambition, grit, then I'm automatically going to fall into this path instead of I'm just going to like set my number, whatever that financial freedom number is for you. And I'm going to go big. I'm going to develop a great business. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
bring together people. I'm going to cast a big vision because I do want to make a big impact. And, kind of how I've landed my personal conviction on that now is in all of my commercial real estate syndication deals now, you know, the investors always win. It's always a 70-30, 80-20, or 85-15 split. They get the first portion, so to speak. But on my company side, I'm giving away a portion of those profits to different nonprofits because I want to build in that culture of generosity.
Hmm.
And in a lot of ways, like Oak and Vine, it's not even mine. I'm learning how to partner with God in my business
Hmm.
so that we can be a blessing to other people.
Yeah. Tell me about oak and vine. Like I know a lot of analogies to oak, but tell me about vine. How's that? How did you come up with
Yeah.
the name?
Okay, it's so funny as a new business owner, you like obsess over your name.
Hmm.
And instead of like just taking action, getting started, like you gotta like have the logo and the website and all the marketing stuff. But I would just encourage people, don't worry about the name. You can always file a DBA, doing business as, and change your name. Just use your last name, go for it, and then figure out your name as you go. So as my wife and I were kind of dreaming about all the different things we want to do, from investing in real estate to helping people and their family and parenting to getting healthy. We just really like the idea of strength. All throughout the Bible, oaks of righteousness
Hmm.
are kind of the place people would meet, where the big meetings happen. Oak trees traditionally grow big and large and they stay around for a while. And then I love the idea of vine. In the Bible, John 15 uses the word abide, I
Mm.
think over 12 times in just a few short verses. And abiding really means like submitting yourself, coming under the authority, having a shelter, a place of refuge. So the vine, fruit can't grow unless it's attached to the vine.
Mm.
My business can't grow unless I'm attached to a greater purpose, or even for me, being a faith-filled guy,
Hmm.
a greater person, namely Christ. And as
Hmm.
I'm partnering with God, as I'm abiding, as I'm tethered to that vine, my hope is that the vision would captivate investors, and people would want to come into these really good opportunities to multiply their money and impact.
I like that, and I like how strong your why is. I think a lot of times we underestimate the importance of a why,
Hmm.
but then also the driving force of it to send us forward and do great things. And without that why, you get stagnant. You get so far, and then you stop because your why's met or you're happy with your goal. But I like that it's in your name because it's potentially a constant reminder that you've got to stay close to the source.
Yeah,
And
and you can't do it alone. I think that's the other thing. When you partner with other like-minded people, that's where you
Mhm.
can really grow and excel. And I think teams flourish when people of different skills, talents, and abilities come together and use their unique superpowers, or they reach out to a coach that has a different set of skills to help them advance. I think that's really important.
Mhm. That's good. Um, so you rewind just a little bit for me. You and your wife, you met in college. Did you
Met in
start?
college.
Did you start
Yep, I
doing the
was.
campus ministry right away?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, sophomore year was volunteering in an after-school kids program. I think I had like three kids on my back. I
Mm.
turned, and there's Katie. That's the first time we
Mm.
met. So we just volunteered together at this inner city school in Minneapolis, and just became friends, and kind of started dating at the end of college. But I started off at the University of Minnesota as a business, public relations, and jazz major, and
Mm.
eventually did a public relations and business degree. But I played saxophone in several of the marching
Okay.
bands and jazz bands at the University of Minnesota. So yeah, we met, and then after graduating, I actually worked as an intern for General Motors, doing some marketing work. In college, I had started a computer consulting business, and
Hmm.
one of my first moments of meeting my now wife was her computer broke, and she asked her friends, "Hey, who should I call to get my computer fixed?" So she called me, and actually, ironically enough, the University of Minnesota wrote a story about that interaction. So that was before we were dating or anything.
That's cool. So you did the computer. How long did you do the computer consulting?
Yeah, it was all through college and a little bit afterwards, and then did an internship with General Motors doing marketing, and then kind of like having this big moment in college of, I would say, coming to Christ, of
Mm.
realizing the hope of Jesus in your life, the good news of the joy that you can be found. That really changed my life, and kind of was wrestling with, man, how do I do business? How do I meld technology? And I feel this call to do something with
Mm.
ministry. How do I do it? And kind of had this position to do operations for this ministry where I kind of get to use all those different gift sets. So we did a lot of mentorship, a lot of meals at the house, premarital counseling, Bible study, leadership
Mhm.
development, just coming alongside students and mentoring them.
And then along that, you got into real estate, and I, Nick, did you kind of make a natural break from the campus ministry as you had kids? Is that
Yeah.
kind of what
So
happened, kind of, or how did
yeah,
you,
we had we had
how'd that happen?
yeah, we had three kids at the time, and just with kind of very intrapreneurial in ministry, but
Hmm.
having started a few businesses, wanted to kind of express that entrepreneurial gift set, and had started investing in some single family homes and Airbnbs. Did my first commercial real estate syndication, and then started like raising money for multi-million dollar apartments, and just kind of was wrestling with what do I want to give myself to? Can I still do both? And just kind of felt like I just
Mm,
need to go all in on real estate to really kind of give vision and energy to those faith-driven entrepreneurs that wanted to cultivate businesses and develop resources so that they could really make impact. So December of 2022 is when I stopped doing ministry, and then January started full time in commercial real estate.
okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Uh, um, you mentioned syndications, but maybe for our guests, could you talk about the difference
yeah,
between a syndication and a fund? Because aren't you
yeah.
really, you're really doing, are you doing both or?
All the above. We still own
Okay.
a single family home that we're running as an Airbnb. We had several other single family homes that we sold off, but I just started learning like where can I leverage my time the most effectively? Because I started developing some resources and I wanted to invest those and be a good steward of those. But I wanted to give as much time as possible. So many people just crush it
Hmm.
at work, but their family life and their investment in their community
Hmm.
is not very good. And don't think a lot of people have very good pictures of successful entrepreneurs that also have a thriving marriage and have a great
Hmm.
relationship with their kids and are active in their community. I think it's really hard to see that mix. So I started writing about it on LinkedIn and started developing kind of a little bit of a following of people that had the same vision of developing a successful business, but also really investing well in their family, whether they're married or just their immediate family, and then also having a place in their community. But started seeing, single family homes, the residential market. It's a great place to get started. House hacking, I think, is a no brainer for
Hmm.
people who want to get started. But eventually, you want to kind of go bigger or leverage your time more. And if you buy a 50, 100, a 200 unit apartment building, you increase those rents just a little bit in each of those units, you can exponentially grow the value. And the value creation between residential is really dependent on your neighborhood or your comps in your neighborhood.
Hmm.
Commercial is all about boosting your net operating income. So finding ways to increase income, decrease expenses. And as you do that, you can exponentially grow the value of that property, which then allows you to be a really good steward of all those resources. So I'm coming up on my 10th commercial real estate syndication. And all a syndication is pooling investor capital together to purchase big assets like multifamily apartments, self
Hmm.
storage, mobile home parks. I've done some oil and gas investing, some private credit and private lending. And when you do that, you can often get really good double-digit returns without having to give up any of your time.
Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. How are you able, Nick, to have such a diversity of funds or syndications?
Yeah.
Do you have just really good operators behind those? Is that what happens? You're the GP, the general partner?
Great question. Yeah. So there's limited partners. Those are people who are committing their capital, often 50 or $100,000 at a time. And then there's general partners who actually run the deal. They do the renovations, they find the tenants, they
Hmm.
manage the project. And then there's also capital partners, fund managers that come in just to provide the capital,
Hmm.
because every general partner eventually runs out of capital and they need more in order to keep continuing to do more and more deals. So I've kind of figured out either you get really good at finding the deal or you get really good at finding capital partners, raising money. And those are some of the two of the best profitable skills in commercial real estate. And I've done both. I've found the deal and I've raised capital and just figured out I love educating people. I love making connections. I love raising money, because at the end of the day, it's an easy sell, when you can get better than the stock market average
Hmm.
returns investing in alternative assets. there's no guaranteed results,
Sure.
or you can't guarantee the specific types of outcomes, but you can talk about projections, and you can talk about how real estate related transactions can really grow your value, not just with cash flow, but also with appreciation. And really, the secret sauce in commercial real estate is the tax savings. And
Hmm.
happy to jump into any of that. But I have a free email sequence. If you want to learn more about commercial real estate syndications, we can drop the link below about that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Um, well, I'm totally on board with you in regards to real estate, and I like your disclaimer there that you can't guarantee, but I think if you give it enough time, it pretty much always wins. So
Yeah, how did you get involved in real estate? Like, what was your way in? We were talking a little bit before about shearing sheep and the common connection in Rogers, Minnesota. I've heard bits and pieces of your story. Can you share quickly
yes,
on that?
so 2012, I was actually doing some HVAC work for a guy, and he called me and he's like, "Hey, Marty, I really want to buy this duplex, but my wife said no, so you should buy it." It was actually my boss, and it was this piece of junk duplex, should have been bulldozed. I was on the MLS, and it was for $5,000, and so so I was like, well, what can you lose? And so I bought it, and then it took me about 2-3 years. I pretty much did all the work myself, and we fixed it up, and we were debt free on this duplex and cash flowing, and I was off to the races. So
Amazing.
I'm
And
gonna
do you have?
I'd like to write a book someday, because what I did after that is I got a line of credit on that, and then I started doing the BRRRR strategy. And
Mhm.
I'd like to write a book, and the title would be something like "How I Used $5,000 to Build a X amount portfolio." Because
That
it's
would hit.
really, yeah. And I know, like you kind of said earlier, that first deal you did really paved the way to so many other deals. Um, you made $600 a month, but it was actually much more than that at the end of the day, because you were off to the races as well. So,
Times 10, plus a couple of cash out refinances, and then a capital event last year. Yeah. But it
mhm.
was a labor of love. We spent a lot of time. Thankfully,
Yeah.
it was across the street, so it was easy to run over there and cut the grass or fix whatever needed to be fixed.
Yeah, I still have my duplex, and it's a great reminder of how anyone can do it, and because I didn't know him a whole lot, I was scared to even get debt. It's just so uh, the way I was taught so strong on that I didn't think I could
Mm.
even get it. So
Wow.
just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.